Hello friends, welcome. Friends, on 18th of February 2025, the Department of Telecommunication came out with a advisory for social media platform and application hosting platform for removing content and applications which are abetting offense by contravening the provisions of the Telecom Act. That's the subject line of this order, right? Now, friends, what is the purpose of this order in real sense? They are saying that calling line identification, which is the number which gets displayed on your mobile phone, is getting spoofed. Means somebody making a call, instead of his ID, his caller line identification getting displayed, somebody else caller line identification is getting displayed, and DoT wants those applications to be barred from the system. Now, everybody will be very happy with this, right? Why should there be a system in place or there be an application in place which will empower the user to do that, right? Normally, it should not be allowed, right? So, this is one thing which came out on 18th February 2025. Then, before that, on 12th February 2025, TRAI comes out with a directive telling the mobile operators that your network is being used to commit all these kind of spams, send all this kind of spam and fraud, and therefore you will be penalized in case you are not able to contain these fraud callers with heavy fine. Before that, there was a directive which basically talked about penalizing the user. Now you can see the trend. Instead of penalizing the end user, they are putting the responsibility on the intermediaries. So they are basically saying that the intermediary should not allow these calls to emanate. Now, friends, I have written multiple articles on this topic. And I have told in those articles and videos that what is the fundamental way to solve this problem. Because I believe that these kind of directives not going to solve the problem. And in this video, I'm going to explain why. Why this problem will not get solved by issuing such directives. By telling the mobile operators to contain this, and DoT telling the social media platform to contain all this application. Let me explain through a diagram so that you understand. I will not like this video to go long so that it kind of remains within the time limit so that people are motivated to watch. Otherwise, people will lose interest. Now, friends, I am not an artist. I'm just drawn a sketchy diagram in front of you. So you can see here that what I've done is I have basically created three switches. Can you see here? Then is MSC1, Mobile Switching Center 1, Mobile Switching Center 2, and then there is a trunk exchange which is lying in between. And then I have created a cloud, right, which is kind of giving a indication that this is from internet. This is not part of the telecom network. There are two mobile phones also. There are three mobile phones which you see here, right? Now, this mobile phone, which I have just highlighted here, is trying to call this mobile phone on the other side, right? So what it will do? Conventionally, if it is not part of the internet, it is using the circuit switch network, which is MSC1 and MSC2 and the trunk exchange. It can actually it has two options. It can either go here, right, to the switching center, to the BTS base station, and then directly go and terminate to the mobile switching center and connect to the mobile phone. This is one. The second option is that it can basically go through the trunk exchange. And why it will go through the trunk exchange? Because the MSC that we are seeing here might be located in some other service area. For that, you have to go through the trunk exchange, right? So these are the two ways of calling these two subscribers which are located here, right? So one subscriber here, another subscriber here, they are trying to talk to each other, right? Then there is another subscriber who is sitting here, right? And he also wants to talk to this subscriber or this subscriber. But he is not connected to the conventional circuit switch network. He is connected to the internet, right? So what he will do? He will dial through the internet and enter the trunk exchange. And through the trunk exchange, he has got two paths. Either it goes here or he can basically go from here to here. So what he is doing? He is using the internet as a medium to call these two subscribers, right? One subscriber here, another subscriber here. Okay. So far so good, right? So what's the problem here? The problem is as follows. That conventionally, when you are making a circuit switch call, right, using your mobile phone, your identity is verified by actually not verified. Your identity is the identity which is verified by the operator at the time of subscriber acquisition called KYC. Do you agree with that? So this is KYC and these are also KYC. However, this guy who is sitting on the internet, right, he may be using an application. This may be a computer as well, right? It may not be a mobile phone. It may be a computer. Now, it may happen that he's using a WhatsApp application or any other application. So his ID may be verified by the iOS system or the Google system or the WhatsApp system, the Facebook system. That's fine. Or it could be that he may be a normal internet subscriber who can be using an app, and that app may be hosted somewhere else outside the country, which allows you to do this thing which I told you, right? Enter the trunk exchange from the international gateway and come here. So if let's assume that all the application service providers who are enabling this app to be hosted in this mobile phone or computer are barred. They are completely barred. They take away those applications. But what will happen if this is a computer which is sitting there using some website which is hosted somewhere else, and through which it enters the system through the cloud and go to the trunk exchange and hit the mobile? What will happen to that? How will you control that? Let me ask you this question. It is impossible to control it by just taking away these apps, from the iOS system. Is not possible. And even the mobile operators also will not be able to contain all the spam calls and all the spoof calls by just indiscriminately based on certain logic dropping these calls. Because whatever logic that you use, short call duration, very high frequency call duration will always create problems for some genuine caller who is trying to make a call, right? You can't just simply use any logic in the system which is maybe 90% accurate, but 10% it will have some holes in that logic which will block a genuine caller, which we are seeing in the Airtel system, where sometimes the genuine calls are also flagged as spam calls. Do you agree with me now? So now what is the solution? That is what we are trying to discuss in this video. Now. So what is the solution? Let's ask this question. The solution is something more fundamental, which TRAI has in one of their recommendation. I'll tell you which recommendation. This recommendation here. This is a numbering plan recommendation TRAI has come out recently. And I'll go and take you through. This is page number 27. So I will go straight to the main page to show you that what is this recommendation all about. Just a minute. Let me give you. So this is the recommendation. This recommendation is numbering plan. Recommendation or revision of numbering plan. Now in this recommendation, what TRAI has done is TRAI has given some laid out some very strong points, which says that the current network interfaces NNIs between the TSP. Let me just do a single page that will be much more easy for you to see. So what is that the TRAI is saying? Let me just go back. I think I have lost the page where this yeah. So let me zoom in a little bit. Just a minute. Zoom in. Oh my God. Just a minute. Yeah. So what it is saying, the current network interface NNI between the TSP relies on the assumption on trust grounded in commercial agreement rather than rigorous technology-based security measures. The SIP trunk and the non-TSP entities third-party SMS gateway and open 5G infrastructure architecture creates a significant security gap. Therefore, the authority is of the opinion that the transition towards a more secure, trusted framework drawing on successful models from internet security such as so-and-so and public key infrastructure framework should be adopted which has been recommended by ITU, right? So this is what TRAI is saying. Let me explain, right? So this is a very good thing which recently TRAI said. So let me explain that how this can solve the problem and why the current recommendations or the current advisory is not going to solve the problem. See, what happens is that, let's say when you are initiating a call here from this mobile phone, okay, normally what will happen is that as soon as you hit the operator, right, which is the mobile switching center or the base station, as soon as you enter their system, the operator is going to pass on the CLI that you claim that you have through which you are dialing. So what it basically means that this operator, right, currently this operator, which is a trusted operator, may not be connected to all trusted operator. That is the problem we are going to see. There could be a PAVX here, right? On which, that PAVX may be, so this PAVX which you see here, this PAVX may be connected to this switch like this. So if let's assume that this mobile phone is, or this phone or whatever is my fixed line phone is calling this PAVX, and through the PAVX it enters the mobile switching center, then the mobile switching center, which is the operator A, has to trust this PAVX that whatever CLI that it has thrown here is a trusted CLI. He can't verify the CLI. You understand what I'm saying? So since it can't verify the CLI, once it enters the system through another switch provider, maybe a ISP provider or anybody else, then it has to carry the CLI end to end as if that it is a trusted CLI. It could be a spoofed CLI, right? So he can't really assume, or it can't make out whether the CLI that he's getting from this PAVX operator is a trusted CLI. You are getting my point. So this is fundamentally happening in the network because there could be multiple such PAVX operators which are located within the country as well as outside the country, or even a genuine operator which is running through a country, which is basically operating in a foreign country with porous laws, with corruption. Okay, so they may be enabling or abetting these kind of crimes, and those calls may be entering the entering India's territory through the trunk exchange. So how will you deal with those calls? So even let's say if you're going to basically tell the operators, look, you have to figure out this mechanism, that mechanism, but that is not a scientific way of doing it, right? Because there could be some genuine callers which will basically get barred from the system just because you have given so much amount of power to the operators to decide what they do, and the operators may misuse this power of disconnecting phone call based on the logic that they will invent, right? Which will not have, which is not going to be standardized. So they may basically say that, okay, if you want your call to be connected, some XYZ, you have to pay me this much amount of money. So you should not be empowering the operators with this much amount of power, which does not have any logic or does not have, based on certain standard. So what the standard should be, which I have been saying again and again, that is going to make these kind of system much more robust and foolproof. The standard is as follows. Let's say if there is a PAVX operator here, let me just draw this again. Let's say that this is a PAVX operator. That PAVX operator has to be assigned a token if it is offering services within the country. And that token has to be used to stamp the subscriber who is entering this MSC, mobile switching center, through the PAVX system. So let's say that, I am dialing from here and entering through the PAVX system to this MSC, then my CLI, my calling line identification, as well as the entity, this particular operator, right? This PAVX operator should be stamping my identity, encrypting it, and with his own signature, which we will go in, just like we give digital signature, right, to all the agency to stamp or sign the documents which are sent across the internet. Similarly, this calling line identification thing should be stamped and signed by this agency so that he take the responsibility of conveying or transmitting this CLI to this MSC, which is now going to treat this CLI as a trusted CLI. And now this CLI is going to flow end to end through the system to the end MSC, which is going to decrypt the CLI using his private key, and then information will get displayed on the mobile phone. Now, how does it help? How does this system help? This system helps because whatever call flow that happens from here to here, where multiple operators may be involved, right? Every operator who is taking over the call will not be doing it blindly. Even if it does blindly, the information of the authenticity of the call is carried on the call itself as a packet, which will finally be decrypted by the entity which is completing the call. So when he decrypts this packet, which kind of will come here at this particular point of time, or at the time when the call is getting connected, he will then understand and he will dip into this database to see whether because this is going to be his subscriber. This MSC2, maybe operator, some operator, Bharti, Airtel, anybody, it is his subscriber, right, who is getting called upon. So he will then dip into his database and say that, okay, this subscriber is being called upon, and let me just check the identity of this caller and see, map the caller identity and see that whether the caller identity is matching the database which we are, all the operators put together is aggregating at a central place, which is called the KYC database. Because if there is a KYC database which is currently being used to do the CNAM kind of recommendation which the TRAI had gave right now to display the calling name on the mobile phone, that database will be there as the integrated database. So you'll dip into the database to see the name which is getting displayed or the CLI which is getting displayed, right, in the mobile phone matches the genuine caller CLI or not. And if it does not, he will simply drop the call here. The call will be dropped here and not connect the call. So in this way, what will happen is that there are various other applications which will be running on the system, which will not get blocked. For example, if you see, this is an FCC consumer guide. If you can download this from the internet, this is a consumer guide, and what it is basically saying that when is spoofing illegal? So this is just, you can go and basically fetch this document from the internet. It is saying that under the Truth Caller ID Act, FCC rules prohibit anyone from transmitting misleading or inaccurate caller ID information from with the intent to defraud, cause harm, or wrongly obtain anything of value. Anyone who is illegally spoofing can be penalized up to rupees $10,000 for each violation. However, spoofing is not always illegal. Look at this. There are legitimate legal use of spoofing, like doctor calls a patient from his mobile phone and displays his office number rather than the personal phone number of the business displays toll-free number back. So it's saying that, there are many cases where spoofing is legal. Now, in a system which DoT has proposed here, which is this document, all spoof call will get blocked. Even there is a genuine spoofing if you want to do in order to really block your identity, that will also get blocked, because conventionally what will happen is, let's go to that diagram. Let's say that if you genuinely want to block your identity, as a doctor you don't want your number to get displayed, the mobile switching center will know, or the entity which is initiating the call, maybe there is a PABX exchange which is initiating the call, he will know that, look, this person who is making the call, his identity is something else, but his CLI is something else. So you stamp that call with a signature and with the authenticity of the person, and the call is going to get transmitted end to end to the end user, and therefore the system will know that the CLI is only for display purpose, but this is the genuine call. You are getting my point, which I'm basically trying to say. In this current system, this is not going to be possible. And that is why I have been saying from the very beginning that the system called stir shaken system, technical term, I'm not going to repeat the full form of the abbreviation, which makes the circuit switch calls, which are basically traveling, sorry for that, which makes the circuit switch call, which are going through the circuit switch system like this, almost like it is traveling through the internet. Because in the internet system, every caller or every individual identity is encrypted and decrypted at the end where the caller is getting connected or the website is getting connected. It is not being, somebody is not sending something else and spoof. You can't spoof an identity. Your identity is stamped by your public key, and then the other user is basically going to use his own private key to decrypt the identity. So that's all happens in internet. Similar situation, similar thing has to happen in case of a mobile telephony system, where if the calls are being encrypted by the signature of the originating service provider and his identity is also encrypted and is sent through the call end to end, then decrypted at the end. This is the system that we want in India. It is going to make the whole system much more robust. It is going to be much more structured, not haphazard in the manner which we are issuing. We are going on issuing orders. These orders are not going to help in the long run. It is going to create more problems in the long run, and it's not going to solve the problem. Why? Because I told you there are international websites which are enabling this capability. So somebody sitting here, instead of, if there are no apps here on this mobile phone, he can go to an international website and use that as a means to enter the system from the gateway, right? This is the gateway. From here he is going to enter the system, and then it's going to connect. How will you control that? How will you control that? Because you have jurisdiction only within your country. You don't have. You can say, okay, I'm going to block all sites. How many block sites you are going to block? It's not possible. You don't know which sites are there which are enabling this. You may only tell. That's why you pass an indiscriminate order that you block everything, whatever is there. You have to be very specific. You have to be surgically precise in what you are doing. And you have to have a platform or a system which can scale up, which will ensure that genuine people, applications or the requirements are also not being unnecessarily harmed. Right, friends? So thank you for your time, right? And I hope that you have probably liked this video. And in case if you have any question, let me know in the comment section, and I'll come back with another video next time for a new topic. Thank you very much.